Got it. There we go. We always give that a second. It's always fun, the lag that we get between that. All right. And we'll just mute this. There we go. Gerry, how are you?
A pleasant good morning to you, Chris.
So there's two greetings I've got for you today, but I've got to make a disclaimer before I do that. So if you just dialed in, if you're listening to us on a treadmill or a Stairmaster, wherever your choice of torture might be at the gym, or if you happen to be with us live, there's a disclaimer. We may actually not talk about anything recruiting on this call. This is a quick catch up for Gerry and I and for our beards to say hello to one another.
Exactly. It's been more than a week, actually, since we've actually chatted before that, and both of us have been engaged in a number of things. So that's kind of cool.
That's true. So Gerry's beard. How's Gerry's beard?
It's good. I intend to grow my beard out over the next several months, and hopefully, when we go to Burning Man, I can be the full Santa that I would like to be.
I love that. So Gerry, is there actually, and forgive the pun, is there a cutoff date for this beard?
No, I mean, this beard has been on my face since 1969. So from that perspective, my children and my wife don't even know who I am.
Who's under there? Yeah.
No. So I've just decided, though, the only other time that I grew this thing out was when I was in graduate school and working on my master's degree. I went away for the summer and just lived on a farm, spoke to no one, and just let it grow. So
wait a minute.
This is the only other time that I'm doing that.
Wait a minute. How do I not know this story? You went as a clean-shaven young man to a farm.
No, I was not clean-shaven. I had already grown my beard, but it was relatively non-ragged, and I decided that I wasn't seeing anybody. I wasn't talking to anybody. The only person I was talking to was myself for 2 months, and writing every day in a small farmhouse on a hill in northern New Hampshire.
Okay, what kind of? I need more information, Gerry. You can't just say you were alone on a farm this is misery level. What were you writing?
No, it was a beautiful place. It was, a little A-frame, and people. There were cows, on top of the hill. I would get up at dawn and go sit with the cows and contemplate my navel. And I might have had some interesting product with me that would help me get my head into the right frame of mind.
Understood. And so this is like a farm, like full on farm, functioning farm. Did you have to work there? Or were you just?
Yeah, this was the year before I got married. There was a functioning farm on the other side of the hill, actually.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we don't need to go there. This is we get into long stories. We're going to use up that 15 minutes.
All right. And so this is where the Gerry beard was born, though. The more fuller, robust.
The fuller beard. Yeah. When I came back, I shaved a little bit, or cut it down a little bit. But now I thought, I've never really been a full Santa, so I'm gonna work on that. And how about you? You have been creating a persona, I think, that's a little bit different in keeping the sides a little bit thin, if you will, and or shaved a little bit from that, and how long is that going to get?
I don't have a cutoff date. I did my partner. She mentioned the other day for the first time she was starting to sort of miss my face. It was hidden under here. So this might be the start of, it's a little too long from her perspective, but she does like it, I think, or she's doing a good job lying to me about it. I figured, you know what? I am 50 this year, right? I'll be 50. I've never done I've always had a little bit of scruff. I've never had the full beard. And I was like, why not? We'll see where it goes.
I hit 75 this year.
So far, oh, that's right. We each have milestone birthdays this year.
Exactly.
That will make for an interesting burn.
It will, because I'll have just had mine, and you will just be before you have yours, I think.
Yeah, my birthday is usually right after the burn.
Right after. So mine's just before.
So I have some fun. I have some fun beard stats that I pulled up that I thought were kind of interesting. Did you know that only 33% of Americans have facial hair at all?
No. And what percentage are women?
American males.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fair question. Mostly men grow beards.
Okay.
And I read last night, strangely enough, it popped up. So I'm sure Google and Amazon are listening everywhere, but it popped up in my feed. 98% of Forbes 100 richest men are clean shaven. Wow. So I don't know if we're ever going to make that list.
No, this is clearly not.
I will tell you one thing I have figured out, and you can back me up on this, or you can call bullshit. There is you see guys riding motorcycles, and they kind of do that low wave to one another.
Yeah.
I have a Jeep. There is in fact a Jeep wave. Mm-hmm. I've noticed. I have been told there is a bald man nod. So when men are walking around clean shaven heads and they see each other, there's a little bit of a nod. I haven't had to pay attention to that. I'm sure someday I will. Yeah. I'm sure someday.
Maybe.
But what I have seen in the last 4 or 5 months, there's a beard nod.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay. How did you not tell me about this?
Well, first of all, the bald nod I call bullshit on. It's you embrace that with aplomb. But you see someone with a quality beard that they've taken, that they've taken some care with that, and you typically do tip your hat or make note that you're noticing that cool beard.
That is a thing. Like it
is a thing.
I get more compliments on the beard, and I comment more. But I get more comments and compliments from dudes than the ladies.
Yeah,
on the beard. It's kind of interesting.
Yes, I would think so.
Don't turn that into something it's not.
I'm not going down that path.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I did also, I'll give you another stat. Where was it? Here we go. Shavers. That's what we're going to call them from now on, Gerry. Okay. Those, the shavers, the non-beard growers.
Yes.
How many hours do you think they spend in the bathroom in their lifetime?
I have no idea, but I know it's significant. I would say that for me, every few days, I might spend a few minutes. Other than combing it out or whatever, but in terms of shaving, the degree to which one shaves to cut your beard properly and your neck or whatever, that's a few seconds every so often.
Yeah, once it's out, the maintenance is kind of, there is a ritual, right? That we have to wash it and condition it, and you put oil in it, and but apparently if you shave your beard completely, that is an additional 3,300 hours of your life in the bathroom.
Wow. So we've got that back. We can have adventures.
Exactly. We can do other things with that. I did just get, speaking of adventures, I did just get back. We were talking about this earlier, from Alaska. We went with some dear friends for 5 days. We did dog mushing. We did hot springs. We did the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, a number of things. And I will have to tell you a few things that I did learn. Your beard will freeze solid in seconds at minus 25 degrees. Solid. It is fun for everybody to then, they want to touch it because
it gets a little hard there. Yeah.
I also learned if you were to put small, really thin metal shavings in your beard, it actually acts as a natural compass.
I did not know that. And I find that a little weird.
All right, that might not be true.
Well, it's also something you'd be doing in the middle of freaking nowhere, and that would suggest that your mental acuity has deteriorated to some degree.
It could be. It could be. But it does
Especially
actually.
as your beard starts pulling you to the
Yeah.
north.
Yeah, for sure. It does. It doesn't necessarily act as a compass, but you do have a natural inclination to be able to see the closest mountain. You do know which direction to look in because of the beard. Never lost.
Uh, well, I'm really pleased that you went to Alaska. I think it's great. I had an opportunity to do that 20 years ago, and I was so blown away by the Alaskan range and all of that sort of thing. So I think it's one of the most beautiful sights to be able to see the entire Alaskan range with Denali right in the middle of it.
It was phenomenal. It's one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen. We brought one of us had a GoPro, a really nice GoPro, and then I also had a GoPro. I got one of the Max, which is the 360 view, because I'm playing with all this VR. You've got the Quest goggles and all the VR stuff. So we took it up in a plane, little 9-seater, and did the Denali flight, and I kind of held it up into the seat in front of us. So if we do it right, I can send a link to you, and you'll be sitting in that passenger seat there on the flight.
Yeah, I saw one thing that you had that you could go a little bit back and forth on, but I would love to be able to see that from that perspective.
Yeah, actually, keep panning that. You can click and drag that image that I posted. It goes 360. It's anywhere.
Oh, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Pretty cool. Actually, we had a good time. We did. Did you do dog mushing when you were there?
I did not. My sister-in-law, though, has done a lot of that. That's who we went to see, and she had spent 25 years in Alaska, working on the Alaskan Railroad in a car that tamped the permafrost below the railroad tracks, and she lived in that car 6 months out of the year. She called it her 20-ton vibrator. Just saying.
Well, speaking of that, we did have an earthquake while we were there. 5.1 earthquake while we were there, which was kind of interesting. But we also saw the Alaska pipeline. We went to a viewing point to see that.
Oh, cool.
Very interesting engineering feat. I mean, I knew it was a big deal. Yeah, like 75, 77, something like that. I think it was finished. But did you know that it's done in a zigzag pattern? You're the engineer guy, you know this already, but that it slides, it's on like these skid plates, and it will slide across the platforms that it's at in the event of, not only an earthquake, but just, stuff.
Yeah, it's supposed to be helpful for the permafrost below it, which is a big concern and consideration. But if the permafrost really does unfreeze, that shit may sink. So it's going to be interesting.
There are rods on the side of the pipes all the way down, hundreds of thousands of 127,000 or some weird number, all the way down that pull earth up, I guess, or heat up out of the ground to keep the pipe, help normalize, I guess, the temperature, regulate the temperature of the pipe.
Interesting. I did not know that.
And the oil in it now, I think, is over 100 degrees that flows through there.
Yep.
Yeah. Just fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very vulnerable in some respects, but obviously it's a very big deal. And the income from that means that if you do live in Alaska on a permanent basis, instead of paying taxes to the state pays you.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Several $1,000s per person. So if you have a family of 3 kids and a wife or your spouse, etc., you are likely making about 10 grand from Alaska each year.
Wow, that's crazy. And your family member is sort of still there or not there anymore?
No, she's now she came back to Montana because she found it a little bit too sparsely populated in where she was. She was in a town called Talkeetna, which is 90 miles from Denali.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, again, it's probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. We did a 2.5 hour sort of out and back route, which was pretty great.
I think that's fabulous. I think it's really a bucket list, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Oh,
I think going up on those cruise ships is fine. It's a great way to do it if you have no other choices. But going inland, I think, is the most extraordinary way to see Alaska.
So I've now done both. It's funny you say that. So I did a cruise ship, and it was into Anchorage, and it was fun and very touristy, but very, very different experience in Fairbanks.
Agreed.
And I will also say a hat tip or a beard nod to the people who live. They might be the nicest people that I have ever visited when I go through a city. Like Fairbanks might just be full of just the nicest. We walked by a shop that was closed, and four of us were kind of looking in the window, and so, oh, it's a shame they're not open. They should be open. And some woman comes over. She says, well, normally they put a sign up, and they really should tell you he's usually back by this time. If you just wait for a little while. And then she was like, do you want me to call? And we're like, you need to call. We're just looking. Just the nicest people across the board.
I'm sure, and they can be, because if you have a problem with any of them, where are you going to go? You can't get out without them.
Fair point. And we did learn you have to run the car for 30 minutes typically before you can get in it. So there were an awful lot of cars sitting outside restaurants with no one in them that were just running, which was a very odd feeling. Odd feeling. Yeah. But we learned why very quickly.
Yes, I'm sure. It's very cool. I love it. You had a great time, and you just got back, so it's
literally fabulous. Just got back. Yeah, no frostbite that I'm aware of. So, but you have a trip. So you've got a trip that you're planning. More of a
and I keep on saying weather permitting, because 2 weeks ago we had 2 feet of snow where my Airstream is docked. And as of last night, the snow is all gone. So at this moment, on Saturday, coming up, I will go and get my Airstream, bring it back to my house, prep it for about a 10-day trip. And I'm basically going to go from New Jersey down to Chesapeake, to Charlotte, to Atlanta, to Moultrie, Georgia, to Bonita Springs, to Port St. Lucie, and then come back home. And along the way, I'm meeting up with someone who might buy my Airstream.
Oh,
which is part of the reason. My wife is not really excited about doing this. She wants to.
I was just going to ask.
She's not coming with me on this trip. She will come with me to Montana to see her sister in May. But on this trip, I'm taking one of my cousins, my 140 cousins, and a former hippie who's now a little bit younger than me, not much. Her brother lives in Moultrie, Georgia, so we're going to see a couple of our cousins on the way, and hopefully have a couple dinners with just a couple folks, good wine, good conversation, etc. But yeah, it's a road trip. It's definitely a road trip.
Yeah. How many days are you going to be on the road?
We're going to do 200 to 300 miles a day every day for about 10 days.
All right. We need to make sure we get you some sort of satellite connection that goes.
I have a hotspot. The only place, Moultrie, Georgia, may be the only place where cell may not be as good as it should, but other than that, we're near cities, so I should be able to communicate.
Yeah, you should.
Take a few pictures and enjoy life.
So you're headed down with the truck and the Airstream, and you may end up coming back without the Airstream, just the truck?
No. I will come back. I will clean up the Airstream, and then he'll come up and take it. And then I'm buying a new truck and a new Airstream.
An upgrade.
I'm upgrading so that as we move into May, and as we move into the future of how I want to work, we can, I can do few more of these kinds of trips.
If it weren't so far, I'd say you just airstream that thing to the burn.
Listen, I've been inspired by young people who, work from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we should be doing. We should be thinking about that periodically in our lives.
Yeah, you're taking it to our friend Deb McGrath from
Yes.
HR.com literally works anywhere at some of the most magnificent places.
Yeah, I was going to say, she also has the resources to fly
But
there and live
doing
there.
the road. Yeah, you're doing the road show version of that.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Without the skiing.
Well, that's true. Well, we have to work that out. If it weren't for the driving part, I'm sure you'd knock the skiing out.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, look, it's good to catch up this morning. Thank you. And thank your beard for joining.
And you.
All right. For those of you on, I'm just going to go through the schedule really quick. Coming up February 15th, we have another live podcast. Our beards may or may not make an appearance, but we certainly have Russ Gibson, who's the manager of TA over at Quantum. He's going to join us. We've got a DE&I meeting coming up on February 16th, and then another podcast on February 22nd as a wisdom coach. We're bringing a wisdom coach in. I'm going to let you guess what that means, but we hope to see you there. And until then, we'll